Carlos, I think that's a very good question because you've touched on a very challenging issue. I think if you look at Europe, if you look at the United States, you'll see increasingly that people are going into the public sector or into politics for often quite short periods of time, and then in a sense they're monetizing their experience within the political system or within the public sector when they move out into the private sector. Sometimes it's a question of culture. In certain countries, you know, that simply wouldn't happen because people see that it's wrong, and certainly if a politician moves from an area of sensitive regulation into the industry that's been regulated, we can all see that there's a conflict of interest. So I think within Europe and within the European institutions, you know, there are rules and there are regulations, but what I often say, if the culture isn't there to make sure that those rules and regulations are followed, or perhaps even, you know, in 10 years' time that we wouldn't need rules or regulations because people will automatically do the right thing, you know, then we do have a problem. But I think increasingly when you see certain issues such as, you know, the issue of Mr. Barroso and Goldman Sachs, or when you see controversies in relation to the Volkswagen scandal, Dieselgate as it's called, and so on, then I think increasingly citizens like yourselves are a lot more sensitive to the impact and sometimes the negative impact of incidents such as those, and the way that laws are sometimes perhaps improperly influenced in the EU and indeed elsewhere.